watch. You're probably getting drunk with some of the neighborhood friends. Looking forward to that. Yeah, that sounds good. Now, here's actually a really good game coming up on the following day here. This is Baltimore at Pittsburgh. This is your AFC North Classic, a little black and blue. It's got playoff implication written all over it. Joe Flacco, Ben Roethlisberger, Le'Veon Bell is probably going to go off and score 2 touchdowns, and like he left me in the lurch in a fantasy championship last week. I'm not going to sulk too much. This is a good one, though. And it's a good one, and these games are traditionally low-scoring and just black and blue, beating them up. I like Pittsburgh to win this game, but I have a feeling that Baltimore covers. 5.5 points is a lot. Pittsburgh at home at Heinz Field is laying 5.5, over-under here, 44.5. You can't kick field goals in this stadium, so fantasy caveat, stay away from Justin Tucker this week. It's just not a place where guys kick a whole lot of field goals. Nothing long, nothing over 40 yards ever. Pittsburgh wins the game, but Baltimore covers. Pittsburgh 24-21.
I'm all for the Steelers to win this game, but I got to go with the Ravens to cover. I'm looking at 6 points, and in this rivalry game, I was really tempted to say, you know what, Pittsburgh's going to come out. They're going to have revenge on their mind from earlier in the year in Baltimore. But I gotta say, I think this is going to be a lot close. I think these two teams know each other well. They hate each other. It's well documented. I think it's going to be a good one. But I think in a tight game at the end, I'm thinking a Chris Boswell short field goal to end this one, 20-17 in Pittsburgh's favor.
Chris Boswell, 12-yard chip shot. Yeah, I'm with you, man. I like the Baltimore play here. Give me that score again, Joe. I didn't hear you.
20-17 Steelers.
20-17 Pittsburgh wins it. Baltimore covers. PepperJack?
Well, I know the Ravens on the road this year have given up 69 yards rushing per game. That's pretty good. I don't know what happened to them against Ryan Matthews last weekend. I had Ryan Matthews sitting on my bench because he was playing the Baltimore Ravens defense. So I don't know if Le'Veon Bell finds success, as did Ryan Matthews last week. His career against the Ravens is not good. He and Antonio Brown have combined for 5 touchdowns in 18 career games against the Ravens. Wow. That tells me that if someone's going to win this game for them Steelers, it's going to be Ben Roethlisberger. So I'm going to look at the other receivers on Pittsburgh this weekend for fantasy football purposes. Still think Pittsburgh's playing for it at home. Computer has it 32-13 Pittsburgh. That's quite a spread. I'm going to go a little bit closer to the bone and say Pittsburgh wins this game 24-23. Baltimore plus the 5.
Yeah, I'm with you. I just don't see how. I don't see this game being a blowout in either direction. Don't see how it happens. Pittsburgh 5-0 against.
I think if there were a blowout, I think it's telling you that the Steelers are going to be the one to do it. But I have to believe in the rivalry here.
Yeah, I do too. I think so, and I think we're in for a pretty good little treat there. When I'm sitting back with a Bailey's and decaf, I'm going to enjoy it. So
both teams just have way too much to play for. But I think both teams show up.
I'm looking forward to it. We got 2 games left on the old list here, so let's fire at them. Denver at Kansas City. Kansas City at home at Arrowhead. 3.5-point favorite, over-under here, 37.5. Whoever.
I think Kansas City is going to come out with something to play for after that disappointing performance at home against the Tennessee Titans, where they kind of let that game off the hook. And credit to the Tennessee Titans to take advantage, but I see a lot of problems in Denver right now. Just no quarterback and not an offensive line to be heard of. It's not good. It's not good times for old Mr. Simeon these days. And I think Kansas City's going to have their way on defense. And I think this won't be as close as the last time. I'm going to take Kansas City win this game, 24-10.
24-10. Kansas City winning handily. And Joe, you're continuing with the theme that Denver cannot score points.
They can't score and they cannot protect.
Yeah, it's been really realistic. I think that I'm going to take some pressure off Trevor Siemian. Not being able to protect him has been the bigger issue. I think he's been very accurate. He's a good decision maker. I don't think this guy's a bad quarterback. I really don't think he's a bad quarterback at all. The Broncos.
Tough to say because he's always on his back.
Well, yeah, it's tough to say. Broncos brass came forward this week and said that they see Trevor Siemian being their man of the future, and I don't totally disagree with it. Now, they did draft Paxton Lynch. Nobody knows. They're going to say things. They're not going to throw the kid under the bus while he's still, got the number 1 next to his name. I think Kansas City does find a way to win this game. Denver probably is on their way to an 8-8, and exiting this season without a playoff run. Kansas City wins this game 16-13. So actually, let me pay more attention to my notes. I have Denver covering and Kansas City winning the game. Kansas City wins 16-13. Denver covers that 3.5 points.
Well, this game opened up at 37.5 points. Is that what it still is?
I have it at 37.5 also, yeah.
Well, if that number stays intact, it's going to be the lowest total of the season.
You're right.
I think that Vegas is all over that. Chiefs haven't lost back-to-back games in over a year. Broncos cannot score. Whether they played New England last week or the Titans the week prior, whomever they're playing, they cannot muster any offense. Their defense is showing a little bit signs of breaking. Chiefs continue their dominance, I believe, this week over the Broncos. Low-scoring affair, 17-10 Chiefs.
I like a couple defensive scores on Kansas City's part. And as far as security goes, that offensive line is more along the lines of Paul Blart Mall Cop. It is not
Paul Blart, huh?
Well, yeah, and I'll tell you what, though, Kansas City has really relied on the explosiveness of a guy like Tyreek Hill. He's kept them in games. And in that matchup against Denver a few weeks ago, Jarius Norwood muffed a punt, fumbled the ball, too, on a previous play, which kept Kansas City in that game. Denver is just a team that has really suffered some calamity and just bad luck in a lot of ways. Big plays given up by players that are just role players, but enough to hand the ball over. Kansas City is the most opportunistic team in the NFL. I really think that they take advantage of every little thing. They squeeze the rag and get as much juice out of it as they can. That's like Andy Reid and scraping the bottom of a bowl of chili with a piece of bread. That's what he does. That's what he teaches. It's what he believes in and what he knows.
It's so good.
Hey, Joey, for the record, Blart spelled backwards is Trarb.
Thanks, Harry.
That's a Harry. Yeah, that's a Harry Careyism right there.
You could be Brooks spelled backwards. Scoob. I like
shake the moon if it were made of ribs.
We can go back to driveway drinking after this one, folks. This might be a good one, and it does have playoff implications for at least the Detroit Lions. They want to win this. Detroit traveling to Big Day, taking on Jerry Jones' Dallas Cowboys, led by the Dak Prescott, who has impressed the hell out of me recently, by the way. Dallas is a 7.5-point home favorite. Over under here, 44.5.
Dak spelled backwards is CAD. What do we got that spread at?
We got it. It's Dallas 7.5-point favorite. Over under here, 44.5. I'll be quick. That's a really high number for these two teams. Believe it or not, I've mentioned it week in and week out. Detroit is an unders team. Because that pass defense is so bad, everybody wants to lean to Detroit scoring a ton of points. Those days are gone. This team, I'm pulling up that information right now, but they are an unders team. The total has gone under in 5 of Detroit's last 5 games. Trust the unders here at 44.5. This is actually a really interesting game that I would like to couple in a teaser with the Baltimore Ravens. If by some chance you can find the Ravens plus 11.5 with 6 points and the over-under here taking this game under at 50.5, I like it a lot. I see Dallas winning the game 22-16. Not covering 2, by the way.
See, I think this is one of those squeaky, sneaky, barely cover type games at 7.5. I think Dallas is the most complete football team other than the New England Patriots out there right now. Defense, offensive line, running game, good quarterback play, good targets on offense. Yeah, I mean, they're just they're really put it all together. And Jerry probably wants to pat himself on the back, but he should really be patting his son on the head. Well done, Mr. Steven. This is a very good complete team, and I think that they're gonna win this game 27-17 at home.
Got it. Pepper?
Detroit has Green Bay in their rearview mirror. Green Bay is going to beat Minnesota, and Detroit's going to have a lot more to play for than Dallas, although I think it'll be a great game. I know Dallas is going to show up. They're 6-0 straight up at home this year. Yeah. I'm with you on the under. I don't think Detroit football games have a propensity to go over this year, so we're going to go Dallas.
They're 5-1 straight up at home. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but they are.
Oh, you're fine. Dallas is 5-1 straight up?
Yeah, they lost to the Giants at home.
Well, their last 6 home games, though.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, they lost to the Giants week 1, I believe, in Dallas.
That's right.
I'm going Dallas. I'm going close. I'm going 23-17. That Detroit +7 looks good to me.
Yeah, it really does. It really does. Dallas has actually they're 9-4 against the spread in their last 13 games, 1-4 against the spread in their last 5. And I think that they're just a victim of Vegas making that spread a bigger number of the last 5 games. 7.5. It opened up at 7.5 against the Bucs last week. Got as high as 8.5, and at game time was at 6.5. That screams take the dog all day in a primetime game. But 12-1 straight up in their last 13 games. This is a really, really good football team in Dallas. I'm really, really impressed in Dak Prescott watching that game against Tampa the other night. Calm, cool, collected. It certainly doesn't hurt that you got a pretty darn good running back in Zeke. Pretty darn good cast of receivers around you with Dez, Cole Beasley, and Jason.
I can't say enough about the offensive line, man. I mean, I know I called Denver's offensive line Paul Blart Mall Cop, but their offensive line's like Delta Force. This is real. This is legit.
Oh, yeah, they're very legit. They're so legit.
Drawer farts.
Well, I don't know that anybody in the playoffs is going to go into Dallas and beat them. I don't know that that's happening. Now, I will tell you this. The New York Giants seem to really have cracked the code as far as front four pressure and getting to a quarterback and allowing your secondary. The Giants are a dangerous football team, and I'm going to pound that drum until they lose in the playoffs. They are dangerous. They can get pressure with the front four, and that secondary is actually awesome. You held that Dallas juggernaut to, 7 points?
Yeah, 13-10 or 13-7 was the final. I can't recall.
They stuffed them.
That's a great matchup in the trenches right there. That offensive line versus that defensive front. That's an old school bang 'em up kind of matchup. That's kind of, from the casual fan, doesn't really pay attention to something like that. But if you're a real football guy, you love that shit.
Oh yeah, there's meat in the trenches, and that's where that game goes on. There's some big uglies slapping each other around up there, and Dallas moves mountains. But that Giants team is really vicious. No Jason Pierre-Paul going forward is going to take away from that pass rush, but that Olivier Vernon was a really nice and underappreciated free agent signing this year. I think he makes a lot of difference. Giants are a special football team, but Dallas is pretty damn good too. Dallas should beat Detroit, but it'll be a little closer than one might think. Matthew Stafford got snubbed for the Pro Bowl. I don't know if you guys saw today where they asked him how he felt about that. He just plain looked at the camera and said, "I don't care." Well, the Pro Bowl's in Orlando this year. It's not even like
these guys want to take their vacation during that time anyway.
Yeah, it's not even like he's missing out on a trip to Honolulu. He's when I don't get to go to Orlando. It's not a big deal at all. So
he'll probably go to Honolulu with the family anyway. It'll be a better trip and not have to play a meaningless football game.
That's right. So on that note, fellas, it wraps it up. We managed to do this in just under an hour, it looks like. Yeah, somewhere in that ballpark. So good job, guys. To all the listeners out there, thank you guys so much. It's been a lot of fun. And a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa. I don't know what else you guys celebrate.
How about congratulations to your favorite rock and roll band for making the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, you know what? I appreciate that very much. My boys, Pearl Jam, into the Hall of Fame. That opens up opportunity for me and the little lady to travel to New York here in the spring and go to another wild party. I'll still maintain that they are the greatest live band you'll ever see. When you have 35 to 40 song nights in major stadiums like Wrigley Field and Fenway Park, you can't miss it. You just can't help but feel the energy and excitement. It's awesome, and I hope that something cool happens up in New York at Radio City Music Hall. Look forward to it, man. So that's good. Anything else, guys? Any other Christmas gifts and wishes? And Joe, what are you getting all your stripper friends for Christmas?
Just the typical. I just make sure they're all clean before they can come. I just make sure they're all clean. I always pay for the screening so they can come over and have a nice little time and warm up by the fire.
Well, I'll tell you what, Slumlord Horn Dog, you learn from the best of them.
I know. We might have to put the period and the exclamation point on the end of that one.
No, Horn Dog. Excellent.
Right,
well, on that note, folks, I'm going out to the driveway, and I'm drinking myself a Christmas brew.
We got
Good
football
for
tonight,
you.
8 o'clock.
Yeah, get there, check it out. We got the New York Giants going to TL. PepperJack taking the New York Giants, and Joey Peeps is taking those Eagles to upset them 23-20. Get out there. Go to those websites. Go out to your counter desk in Las Vegas and make your plays. Go enjoy it. Have a great week. Merry Christmas. Congratulations. Blah, blah, blah. We've emptied the tank.